Hi, I'm John Noser. This is Board Game Geek TV. This is Essen Spiel 2012, and I'm here with Roberto Di Meo, and this is Aztlan.
Yes, a lot of difficult things to
yes.
pronounce. Yes.
And the designer's Leo Calavini.
Yes, popular for the design of games such as Cartagena, Clans, Carlos Magnus,
Yes.
Atlantis. So a very good designer. Okay.
So how many? So obviously this is up to a 4-player. Does it work with 2 and 3?
Works with 2. Actually, was born as a 3 to 4 players game.
Okay.
Then during development, we found a way to make it work also for 2 players. So
Okay.
we included a 2 players version, 2 players variant actually inside the game.
Cool.
Okay. So the game is set in Aztlan, as the title says. Aztlan is the mythical land from which all the Aztec people comes in their own legends.
Okay.
So we set the game in this mythic age, so it's not a historical Mesoamerica, but we made a lot of research to make the game true to Mesoamerican folklore.
Okay.
So like including deities and things like that. We have 4 different tribes which live in Aztlan. Each tribe has a totem animal: the serpent, the coyote, the ocelot, and the quetzal. And those 4 tribes are fighting and striving to be the one which remains on Aztlan when the time of exile comes, and all the other people will have to be exiled out of the island. The game is played through 5 rounds, which
Okay.
are called the ages.
Okay.
And so in each age, you will have to use one of the power cards, which comes in a set of 6. So each of the
So
4 people,
number 4 through 9.
number 4 to 9. So you will use 5 of your 6 power cards through the game, 1 for each age.
Okay.
And the card that you choose will dictate both the power of your people in that age,
Okay.
and the kind of terrain that you are most interested in acquiring. So
Okay.
this will be important for the scoring, because a lot of the victory points bonus is based on the control of the type of territory that you are looking for in that age.
Okay.
Very important element is that the fact that your strength and the type of territory that you want to control are linked together, and the pattern is the same. So the 4 is the same, the 5 is the same. So it's not different from
Okay.
each people to the other ones.
So everybody has basically the same deck
the same
of cards.
exactly. This will introduce a bluff element in the game, bluffing element, because actually depending on how you act on the board, the other players can actually try to guess what your strength is in
Okay.
that round. That's a very important bluff and counter bluff element that introduces a sort of fog of war element in the game and in the combat, even if the combat is deterministic.
Okay.
Of course, the choice of the power card that you do at the beginning of a round is hidden, so the other players don't know what the other
Fair
players
enough.
have chosen. That's the first thing that you do every round.
Okay.
Then after every
So we're playing
player
a card.
chooses his own card, then you will have to start going around the board.
Okay.
In the first round, it's in a random order. Then in the round after the first one, the first player will move first, which is a disadvantage.
Okay.
The number of...
So how do you determine the first player? Is it the person who's ahead?
So, yes, the
Okay.
person who's ahead in victory point is the first player. Except in the first round, of course, everybody is still at 0 and will be random.
So it'll be random. Okay.
Okay, so in the first round, in a 3-player game, you will start with 8 tribe pawns. In a 4-player games, you will start with 7
Okay.
pawns. Then in each of the following ages, the board will get more crowded, and decisions to place and move your pieces will become more difficult. So to keep the pace of the game even and not to make the later round too cumbersome, you will actually play with less people in the later round. So
Okay.
you play with start with 7, and then you have 6 in the second round. You play 5 more in the
5,
third
4,
round,
yeah.
and so on until
Yep.
the 5th one. Okay. The game is really linear in the way it works. Every turn you can place 1 pawn, and the other players, of course, will go and place their own pawns as well.
Okay.
And then in the later rounds, you can do, say, for example, like this, or like this. Okay.
So we placed a bunch of people.
Yes. After you start placing a number of people, you can actually also start to move people around. So every time that you place one more guy, you can move one of the other guys that you have on the board. You can place your pawn everywhere, so you can place.
Do you have to be connected?
No, you can place them everywhere. So, for example, I could place a guy here if I want. Of course, it's best. The best thing to do for the victory points is to create areas of connected terrain to control. That's one of the basic ideas of the game.
Can you place a person in an area that already has a person?
Yes, you can place a person in an area where it's already a person. You can double up
yourself.
Like this. Okay, so you go in this way until let's create.
And we go around until all the people have placed their 7, 6, or 5, or how many you have.
Exactly.
Now, do any of them stay on the board between rounds?
Sorry?
Do any of the men stay on the board between rounds?
Between rounds, all of them, all those that survive the conflict phase will remain on the board. Okay. So just to see if I placed everything, 7. Okay, 8. Okay, so now the first round will be over. Of course, I made it in a random way, but it will be in third order. At this point, it's the moment that you reveal the strength of your people. So the red player will reveal the card that he chose in the beginning, the green player will do the same, the yellow player will do the same. Okay. Now, of course, the placement has been a little bit random, so the move might not make a lot of sense.
That's okay. This is just an example.
So what happens now? Starting with the first player, you will look at those territories where there is a conflict, so where there is a presence of more than one player. And you will have to decide how the outcome of these conflicts. So first you look at the strength. So for example, here the red is going to lose here because the yellow has a strength of 8. While the red has a strength of 4. So red is going to lose here, is going to lose here against the green with a strength of 7, is going to lose here, is losing everywhere. So when you lose, you don't do anything. You just, only when a player is winning, the player who's winning has to take a decision, which is important. Now it's the turn of the green player who's playing second. The green player is winning here, is winning here, is winning here. So he's winning 3 conflicts.
Yep.
The nice thing that personally I like a lot about this game is this thumbs down, thumbs up moment when you win a conflict. Okay. Because at this point, the green player may decide whether he wants to coexist with in the territories that he's winning in, or if he wants to eliminate the opponent's pawn.
So what are the drawbacks of eliminating them?
So the drawback of eliminating is that if if you decide to coexist, you will draw a prosperity card. Okay. And a prosperity card is something that gives you a lot of different type of bonuses. Bonuses that you can use during the scoring phase, bonuses that you can use during the conflict phase, bonuses that you can use during the victory points phase. Okay. So there are all kind of bonuses that you get if you decide to coexist.
And that just affects the winning player, not the both.
Yes, exactly. Okay. But the losing player, if you decide to coexist, has a big deal in any case, because the control of a territory that is achieved even if you have a presence there. So, for example, if the green player decides to leave the red in all these territories, those territories will count as belonging to the red player as well as to the green player. But on the other hand, it will get the 3 prosperity cards. Okay. So normally what you want to do is if a move, for example, breaks the kingdom of an opponent player, then it may be a good idea to eliminate those guys, or if you, with an elimination you eliminate several of the opponent pawns, you normally want to eliminate them. But for example here, this territory will not give a lot of points to the red player because it's isolated from the main kingdom, so you may decide to leave them alive.
Now, is there a bonus for having, like, let's say yellow is in here, would there be a bonus for red having 2 people in here in the conflict?
Yes, of course, because the strength in the conflict is actually your power for that age times the number of pawns that you have.
So if you have the 4 card and you play the 4 card, you can make up that by playing more than...
Yes, for example, in this case, if the red had played 2 in these territories with a power of 4, he would have tied with the yellow with a power of 8, and so they would automatically coexist. Nobody would eliminate the other. In the case of a tie like this, neither player would draw a prosperity card.
So how are you gaining the victory points that end up getting you?
Okay, after you resolve all the conflicts like in this way, you will look at the board and you look at your domains. A domain is a number of connected territories. You can have more than one domain. For example, here the player has a domain with 4 territories and another smaller domain with 2 territories. The green player on the other end has 6 and so on. So you look at your domains, and the domains score a number of points. We have a small reference scoring bonus that you can use if you are not keen in calculating anything. It just tells you what your bonus is, because the domain is worth as many points as the number of territories in the domain, but you need to have at least 1 territory of the right kind, or the type that you have chosen for this age. The 4 is a little bit special because the 4 is a wake, but it's a wild card. You can choose any kind of terrain that you want.
So you're going to score no matter what with the 4, but you're going to lose basically all your conflicts.
Exactly. And you can look at the board at the end of the age and choose which is the territory which is the best for you. For example, in this case, the red who has chosen the 4 would be choosing the deserts, because he has a lot of deserts that is controlling.
Cool.
It's very, so you count the number of territories, and you get a higher bonus if you get more than 1 territory of the right type inside your domain.
Cool. People want to see the pieces.
Yeah.
So how long does this game normally take again?
The game normally takes about 1 hour to play, of course, depending on how long the players like to think about their moves, but it's really something that can be played between 45 minutes and 80 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, so it seems like a very unique take on kind of a area control type of keep the connection.
Yes, because this is a theme which is quite recurrent in Colovini's game, but here somehow it's intertwined with the idea of direct conflict, which is something that he normally doesn't include in his games, plus the fog of war element which comes through the hidden choice of the power. The prosperity cards themselves add a lot of variability to how the game develops. So it's, but it remains simple. It's a game which actually has 4 pages of rules, but in the end it's very deep strategically.
When can we expect this in the US?
This is also arriving in these days on the American shores, so should be
on the shelves
next couple weeks. Very soon, in a couple of weeks.
And what is the price?
Price is $49.90.
Great. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
On BGG TV.
And good luck at the con.
Okay, thank you. Just one thing, if I can mention that starting today, there's a contest on Board Game Geek about Aztlan. Okay. People who want to try and win a copy, we take a look at.
Cool. So check out Board Game Geek to try to win a copy of Aztlan.